In the Coonah Hills where the wild winds sing, lived a flock of proud ostriches, hearts on the wing, feathers soft as the sunrise, as bright as the dawn. They danced in the meadows, free and strong. Karen and Katie, with love in their hands, built a home for these creatures on Edgewood's lands. 30 years of care, through sweat and through tears, now a shadow looms large, born of cold-hearted fears. The slaughter, let these birds live, their hearts beat with freedom, they've so much to give. Healthy and happy, they run in the sun.
Yeah, welcome back to another episode of Stand on Guard. That is our extended play version of the song. It's not the entire song. We'll be playing that at the end. And of course, my good friend Katie Passatnay will be on the show. She has been the spokeswoman for Universal Ostrich Farms ever since they ran into this incredible obstacle called the federal government, the Mark Carney government, the Justin Trudeau government. Actually, at the time things started, and now it's reached the apex. And this is the Freedom Convoy again. And when we come back, I'll explain why I'm saying that.
The Prime Minister lied and his minions continue to lie.
Your home is your castle. We're calling on the government to introduce and immediately pass the Stand on Guard law.
But we also need to resolve to resist.
So please like the show, give it the thumbs up, subscribe. We need you to subscribe. We need to hit these magical numbers here, and it's very, very important to do so. You know, I saw some people, maybe just one person saying, you know, there are more important things to worry about in this country than these birds. If it was just these birds, well, maybe you'd have a point. If it was just this farm, maybe you'd have a point. But it's not just this farm. It's not just Katie and her family. It's not just these 399 ostriches at Universal Ostrich Farms. This is about violation and validation of private property by an authoritarian liberal government. Continues to terrorize and persecute and prosecute people they disagree with. It's a narco-tyranny. I'll say it again and again and again until we drive the point home. This is about invalidating livelihoods, destroying livelihoods, going after farms, killing farms, and making farmers feel like they're the criminals. That's exactly what Katie said the other day. The government's making us feel like we're the criminals. So before we get to Katie's interview, she'll be here about 10 after the hour, maybe a quarter after. I just talked to her in BC. She told me she got like 2.5 hours sleep, probably because the RCMP are again out there with their vehicles, shining the lights at the house, making a lot of noise. And the CFIA, these clowns are running around in their hazmat suits, which they took about 3 days to put on. Somehow the ostriches are dangerous now, but they weren't when they first arrived. And the RCMP is walking around in restaurants and hotels without any hazmat suits on, no protection. So is any of these government officials, these CFIA goons, taking this seriously? No. And that's what we're going to be asking Katie when she comes on the show. Before I get there, though, I want to say here's a major story breaking out of the United Kingdom today. Here's Keir Starmer, the clown Prime Minister of Great Britain, saying, I know you're worried about the level of illegal migration into this country. Digital ID is another measure to make it tougher to work illegally here, making our borders more secure. Ours is a fairer Britain built on change, not division. Sorry, Keir, it's not going to make it more difficult for illegals to work in the UK. You've given them everything they wanted. They get better housing, better social programs, better employment than working class Britons. So it's got nothing to do with their ID. You want these people to come here and take over, clearly. And that's, the Guardian, Starmer says government will introduce digital ID to ensure Britain's borders are more secure. They I'm predicting this could be the opening shot in a larger conflict. I'm reluctant to talk about civil war, but Britain seems to be on the edge of that. So we will see what happens there. This story has been in the news. While there are hundreds of RCMP officers at Universal Ostrich Farms terrorizing and bothering and disrupting and disturbing the farmers there, there's a major search going on in southern Alberta that the RCMP could be loaning some of its BC personnel to, but they're too busy on the ostrich farm. Incredible. And you can't make this up. You can't really believe that. You can't really believe that the RCMP is this incompetent. That the RCMP is somehow, doing its best to not do their job. Now, I want to show this little clip from Mark Carney here, because what is Mark Carney up to right now? Mark Carney is continuing to embarrass Canada, to drive home a globalist agenda. And part of that globalist agenda is attacking ostrich farmers because he wants the vaccine to be paramount and herd immunity not to be. Let's listen to this.
Of international finance in scaling up private finance for emerging and developing economies is what I want to touch on today. And that's something we focused on at the G7, but really it's been the work of this table and more broadly. I want to salute the leadership of the World Bank, the IMF, the regional development banks in moving this forward. And there was an element of that at the G7, but the way I'm going to organize my thoughts, 4 points actually, around building that system, financial system for our grandkids, again, drawing on the intervention of the Managing Director and the Secretary General earlier. First thing we need is to recognize that we need to use scarce dollars to the maximum effect. This isn't just about bigger volumes, it's about using scarce public dollars to maximum effect. And that is catalyzing financial instruments using risk mitigation tools to better allocate risk between the public and private sector. I will just refer for speed to the agenda of the Private Sector Investment Lab and what the World Bank has been doing on risk management. The second point is crowding in institutional capital through originate to distribute models. There's a lot of words there. What it basically means is recycling the balance sheets of our international financial institutions. So they are there catalyzing the new lending. Once it matures, it's parked off to other holders that can hold it for the long term, and it's all about action, new action at the MDBs. The third point is strengthening the structures, processes, governance of the institutions. To put it into plain words, the shareholders should be looking at key performance indicators that are directly tied, of course, to the Sustainable Development Goals, but also absolute volumes of capital that are moving. And in some cases, it's not about lending. It's actually about technical assistance. It's making capital flow possible. So all of those activities that catalyze in flows towards the SDGs. I will reference the work that has been done and needs to be completed on a cross-border carbon market, which could close 1/3 of the climate finance gap between now and 2035. And I will also just associate myself with the framework that President Ramaphosa did outline for the G20, which is more comprehensive than what I've just said. Last point I'll make is that at the G7, there were a few instruments that were launched that build on some of the general points that I just made. Billions of dollars in new financing through the IADB and the Caribbean Development Bank, and a structure where a number of countries came together called SCALED, which is Scaling Capital for Sustainable Development. The point of this, it's measured in billions, but really the point is it's a template. It's a template for putting in place those general points that I made. It has, as its name suggests, an ability to scale. And if I may close on this, Chair, there is an enormous gap. We know that. But the gap in terms of financial technology and the solutions has closed. The question is whether we're going to deploy them and scale. Thank you very much.
So Katie is in the blue room here. We'll be joining her in mere moments. I just wanted to show this clip here because I think that this will be a great place to start.
Hey folks, we're at the Edgewood, BC Ostrich Farm here. CFIA's in there doing their thing. Turns out that there's a bird here that's had a rope around its neck for the past 2 hours. They're trying to get him, and every time they go up to the bird, it's running away. Karen would have had it off in 2 minutes. Hang on a second.
Let Katie do it.
Oh. Damn.
Let Katie do it.
No wonder the bird's running away. Look at this guy.
Help us help you.
Every time he gets close, the bird runs away. It's been 2 hours this guy been at it. You know, if one of the farmers went in there, 10 minutes. 10 minutes. They're gonna keep on walking around the whole thing, just try to find this bird. Such kind, considerate humans.
Oh, guys, they're not gonna like tranquilize her to get the rope off. are they?
Unbelievable. Okay, we'll be back.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Katie, welcome back to the show. It's so good to see you again.
Hi,
And
David.
I still mean I still mean to get out there. You know, I'd love to be out there for the concert that's happening because I
Right.
am a musician. I am a musician besides doing what I do here. So I would love to join that. And I don't know if Tamara Leach has been in contact. I was talking to her the other day, texting back and forth. I know she'd love to be there, and of course she's done a lot of concerts herself in support of freedom projects like what's going on there right now. So maybe Tamara will be part of that. I hope so because she's an icon of freedom now. So
She is. She's actually on her way. She'll be here for the weekend.
oh, she will. Well, that's wonderful. Okay.
Uh,
Because
Yeah.
the other day when things looked darkest, I reached out to everybody, you know, in my imaginary Rolodex, if you will, to see who could come and show the support because the situation was so black. Not as black now, but I guess my first question for you, Katie, you in the last 4 days, you've been arrested. You've had at least one fire on the farm, and if you could clear up whether it's one or two, because some people are saying there was another fire last night. You've been harassed at all hours of the night by the RCMP, flashing their lights on, making as much noise as possible. You had, like you just told me, 2.5 hours sleep before getting on this interview. And how are you holding up? How are you doing it?
I'm good. I think it's pure adrenaline and knowing that we got to make it to the finish line. We're 255 days, happy, healthy ostriches that we still have the most faith in for their resiliency. The international outpouring of support definitely feeds a lot of energy. And just knowing that we're doing what's right, we're standing on the right side of history. So that in itself, I think, feeds the drive and feeds the soul. So the arrest was a lot of surprise there. We were basically baited into the back of our farm with a lie saying that we were allowed to feed our animals. We were asking for the humane option to feed our animals while they were preparing for their killing. So we just said, let us keep them calm, let us keep them relaxed, let's keep them in a routine, and we will not be in your way, but let us feed them. And that is the humane thing to do for these animals that have been under stress, drone stress. We had a hen flip over the fence twice, almost break her leg because of the RCMP drones. And they said yes. And so they told us to feed. We filled up the buckets. We went to the back of the farm and got surrounded by cop cars and told that we were under arrest. So it was not a good feeling. That's for sure. We're not criminals. We're farmers. And we are just trying to do the right thing, looking out for the best interest of the animals that we've had under our care for 35 years. Yeah.
Well, you know, I found that story incredible. And the fact you were charged with basically, to put it in colloquial terms, you were charged with animal cruelty. And I think, and I said when I heard that, this is just so Orwellian. I mean, if you have to point that out to people, I think there's something wrong. But it's so Orwellian that you would be charged with that when we've got people on the farm trying to destroy, kill, and absolutely obliterate 399 healthy birds. It's incredible to me that they would have the gall to even do this. But of course, this is all about government gall and nerve and absolutely putting the power of government in the face of farmers to say who's in charge. We're in charge, and you're not going to be in charge. So I know you're encouraging people. I watched your. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, what you're seeing here is a classic display of punishment. This is not justice. This is a display of punishment. Punishment for standing up for what's right, standing up against them. We weren't even starting. This didn't start off as a battle. It started off as the mere request for collaboration, explaining to them that we have opportunity here, explaining to them that we are the experts in our animals and we know that they're healthy, requesting that we be able to test our animals without the threat under quarantine orders of 6 months in jail and $200,000 fine. This is a display of pure punishment and the actions of a tyrannical government that is acting completely insane. The millions of dollars that you taxpayer dollars are paying for us that are the most humble farmers you've ever met who love their animals and want to see change in a policy to protect small farmers across Canada. This is a theatrical display of punishment. And this is Heath MacDonald. This is Paul McKinnon, the president of the Canadian Food Inspection Agency, Courtney Fotheringham of Canadian Food Inspection Agency. This is our own politicians that really did take a long time to step up for us. I screamed crying for our leaders. Where are our politicians? Where are our leaders? When we saw that convoy of about 40 police cars, ghost cars, coming down the highway while we stood in solidarity with our animals at about 7 a.m, freezing, and we knew that that might be the last time we got to spend standing on our own private property with our own animals. And we were very aware that those rights were going to be stripped away from us. That should never happen to anybody, especially when you have healthy animals. The world is screaming for them to be saved. And it's just, it is millions of dollars. We have day shift, night shift police. We have the head of, we have command centers set up here. We have had helicopters. We have drone teams. We have the task force here. This is our taxpayer dollars hard at work taking down a non-criminal, but yet we support criminals walking around the streets every day. There could be so much more better usage of these officers' time. They could be actually taking the real criminals off the streets, the rapists, the murderers, the pedophiles, and they're choosing to attack the hardworking Canadians that are invested in putting nutritional food on your plate. That's not us. We're not for food consumption. But they need to, also the hardworking farmers that are bringing innovative science to the forefront that are going to actually help protect humanity. So this is a display of pure punishment.
Yes, and as we've been saying since we first talked to each other, I think it was in early May, when nobody was covering this story, and we both said this is so similar to the Freedom Convoy. This is the same principles at work here, and it gradually became obvious to me that this is the anarcho-tyranny that so many people are describing. They're going after political enemies of the state and not real criminals. And they've been doing this, of course, and Chris Barber can tell you all about it. Tamara Leach can tell you and tell you all about it. And now, of course, you can. But so the Supreme Court of Canada issued an interim stay of execution of these birds. So why do we have these CFIA goons, and that's what I call them, running around your farm, chasing your birds? Why are they allowed to do that?
Well, the minute we received those documents through the fence, we had 3 search warrants. They've extended our quarantine zone to 3 properties. One of those properties is a private property of my aunt and uncle. They did not receive notice that they were going to be taking over their property. They didn't receive a search warrant themselves. And yet when they got here, they came and opened up my aunt and uncle's gate and took over their property. So this is, they were allowed, the minute I received those search warrants, I think it was probably on a live that I did, or someone filmed it. The inspector for the Canadian Food Inspection Agency kept telling me, no, just take these papers. I said, no, the minute I take those papers, I know that we're going to lose right to our own property. And he said, no, he said, I'll explain it once you take the papers. And he kept shoving them through the fence at me. And I took the papers. And he said, you are now, you need to leave the property. This is now in, we have control over your property. And this is what's wrong in Canada. Where are our rights, right? This is our land, our animals. Where is our sovereignty? They were allowing the non-elected governing bodies that have been happening for 7 years to operate in our country. They are decapitating our industries, our truckers, our healthcare. Now we're coming after our agricultural sector, and this is going to have a ripple effect for generations if we don't stop it here. We'd like to keep saying we're ground zero for change. And if there's never been a better opportunity for Canadians to rise up, stand together, and protect. This is not just about our ostriches. We keep saying that this is about our cattle farmers, our dairy farmers, our rights, our freedoms, and to be able to make the decisions for the things that we have on our own land. That policy, we've had a really great opportunity during the 255 days to educate people all across Canada about the failures and fractures in that policy and how that's affecting us. The one major thing is that I have a fly that just is not leaving me alone this morning. We're really at a farmhouse. That Canadian Food Inspection Agency has the ability to come onto your property based off suspicion. So if you want to remove the fact we had 2 bogus PCR tests done that were ran at 40 cycles in December 2024, they don't even need those tests to come in and kill every animal you own. So this policy is coming to a farm near you if we don't stop it here. And what we're seeing, though, is a beautiful display of strength. I'm seeing Canadians rise up. I'm seeing people from all across the world wake up, rise up, and want to be part of the change here that we are trying to do. So it's been beautiful.
So the CFIA and presumably the RCMP lied to you again. They lied to you about feeding the ostriches, and that's how they arrested you. They got you to do that. I was watching your report on Redacted about that the other day. I was just in disbelief that they would, but they've lied to you again. Just take the papers and it'll be okay. And are you still physically on the farm then?
Yes, absolutely. I don't really go very far. I don't really have that big of a life. This has become my life, and I'm very proud of it. But you know what else they did, and this is just more tyrannical behavior and overreach, is that they came onto the property and we had live feeds going. And this is for the protection of our animals because we have predators, we have CFIA, and they went onto our property and they cut the wires to multiple cameras. They put tape over multiple cameras, and that is a complete violation of destruction of our property. That it was, what are they hiding? Why can't they have those cameras up? Why can't we watch what they're doing out there? Why did they need these walls of hay that you guys, taxpayer dollars, paid for? Semi-loads of hay that came in to build these walls, carnage walls, to protect the world from watching what they were going to do to these ostriches. And that's because they knew that these animals were going to be running in fear, that they were going to see some of the most stressful last moments of their life. There is no humane way to kill these animals that run 45 miles an hour and trust in the hands of the family and are looking to us for safety. But they're seeing these people in hazmat suits come in, and everything has changed for them. So they were cutting our cameras. Again, what do they have to hide? They have broken multiple quarantine procedures. And so they're, if you want to preach to the choir, you better be ready to have the full display of the theatrical rules followed. They should be doing this. They should be leading the vision of what they expected us to do. But we've had RCMP officers breaching the quarantine, going right up to the fence, getting back in their vehicles. Their vehicles are going back to Vernon. They're going to hotels. They're going to eat in restaurants. They're driving through the quarantine hot zones. We have had, when we were arrested, they came in with their big hazmat suits. We had one of those officers then get out of their vehicle or get into a vehicle and leave his hazmat suit on out of quarantine because we got hauled out, taken up to where we were detained at a provincial sandpit, get out of the van, still in his hazmat suit, with his video pole that he videoed everything. And we were sitting in the back of the van and it was very hot. There was no air back there. And we said, please, can you open the door just to give us some air? And we mentioned, we're like, he's still in his hazmat suit. And then he panicked and he took off his hazmat suit, but he handed his video pole to another officer. So now that officer would have been contaminated. Then he gets his pole back. And after his hazmat suit is off, remembering that my mom and I are not disinfected, we've came straight from such a virulent threat hot zone, and that, in their words, which we're not a virulent threat, but this is what this displays. And then they proceeded to allow us to use their personal cell phones to make a call to our lawyer. So there was multiple breaches in their own quarantine procedures. And if you can't cherry pick through that stuff, you better be on the same page. You better have that buttoned up and show the world, that there is a really big viral threat here. We do have concern that the animals have been healthy for 255 days. And now, basically, in layman's terms, we do have the wolf in the sheep's pen. And that is their caregiver right now. So we've put it out there that if anything happens to these animals, that is going to be a huge red flag, because we've done it. Our animals are healthy, but if they all of a sudden start falling over, or if they think that they are going to be allowed to secretly test and say that they took tests, and they look at what the results came back as, without us being allowed to do an independent test, again, we're seeing a display of punishment, because they're going to just try to prove that they were right, rather than just collaborating with us, creating the change for all Canadians, being heroes. We kept saying, you still have the opportunity to be heroes. There's an eroded trust within Canadians and this organization that is putting us Canadians more at risk than ever, because if farmers are afraid to call for help, for proper outbreak response on a real possible danger, and we're going back to shoot, shovel, shut up, then we are putting humanity more at risk, and Canadians, because then there could be a real virulent threat that is actually real, rather than crying wolf on us. And that would that puts us more at risk. So we need to establish some trust back there, and I think that's going to create is going to start with proper communication, willingness to work with farmers and listen to our concerns, and make some changes within their policy.
I guarantee you, if the RCMP really believed there was any kind of virus threat on your farm, they would be suited up. And the police union would be demanding that they be suited up. This just demonstrates that this is all a huge lie, that there is no threat to health on your farm. The RCMP don't believe it. The CFIA did not believe it. Clearly, it took them a couple of days to put a hazmat suit on. So it's if it wasn't so tragic, this would be comical to see these clowns doing what they consider to be their duty. And
yes,
I think increasingly Canadians watching this and saying, my God, this is like secret police at work here. This is like the Gestapo at work here. These people, and I love the Clayton Morris the other day. He called the CFIA a criminal terrorist organization. That's exactly how it appears to any objective observer who's watching this. So is the CFIA actually feeding your birds? You know that?
So this is another problem. Here we are, and it's all about proper communication, and it's about supporting the farmers through a really difficult time, but more so making sure those animals are treated humanely. No, for the first day when they hauled us away, they were not going to feed. They left our farm truck out there. We weren't even done half of our chores. We feed 26 buckets of feed, 5-gallon pails of feed a day. We had to get a gentleman who supports, who's been like family, and he's a spokesperson as well, to get onto a megaphone and yell at them to feed the animals. They wanted to see feed put out for the animals. And then they came out and started to take feed and dump it on the dirt ground right beside all of their rubber black feed buckets. So again, it was just a display of, I don't know if they're just really don't know how to handle animals, or that food goes in buckets, not on the ground. They're not chickens. They don't scratch the ground, and it's not chicken scratch. But we had a hen who flipped over the fence twice, had a very hurt leg, and started treatment. Well, we were asking and asking. She had to keep her treatment for anti-inflammatories. And there was no communication on that. It's taken 3 days or 3 days or so. Yet yesterday, the police liaisons here tried to bridge that communication with our family and the Canadian Food Inspection Agency. Their solution to this is that we have case officer 7, Canadian Food Inspection Agency. We can email them our concerns. They will email us back. And that's how we can communicate with them. Even though they're on site, they could speak to us at the fence. They can allow Dave, the business partner here, to go in with them, show them exactly what to do. We're not violent. We're not threatening. We want to see these animals healthy, but they're not giving those humane options. I can't, or my mom can't go out there right now because we have a no-go order since we've been arrested. But there is no, this is nothing about putting animals first. So, if we're really looking at this, I mean, animals are suffering before they really have to suffer. And so there was an ostrich with binder twine got around her neck. Well, she's been out there for a day with binder twine around her neck, and she's tripping on it. We would have had that off in 5 minutes. But because of this communication breakdown, not being able to work together and looking out for the best of the animals, they're suffering. And so, it's the feeding. They're not feeding, they've never walked through with us, even in their hazmat suits, and just to say, show us what you do. The other really strange thing was 2 days before they came, we got a letter from Courtney Fotheringham from Canadian Food Inspection Agency. That email said, will you guys help us continue, feed the animals, help feed the animals, and just tend to them while we prepare. So that all of a sudden, though, this is how Canadian Food Inspection Agency works. They give you something and then they say, no, they didn't. They January 2nd, we got told we qualified for special rare genetics. January 10th, we got told, sorry, we don't. Something changed within 8 days. They just move your goalpost. And we've had that from day one when the quarantine order got put in. They said it was about trading partner policies. Then we got our largest trading partner on board by the grace of God and the Trump administration. And then they moved that goalpost to we had a novel reassortment. Then we used our expert witness, Dr. Pellick. We kind of debunked that one, told them, no, this is not true. And then they moved it back to trading partner policies. Then we got a second RFK letter from the Trump administration. Then they moved it to now we have one of the most virulent strains of avian influenza, and we have a big threat. So they keep moving the goalpost to justify their actions rather than test the animals and restore the trust that Canadians deserve.
Yeah, they want to keep you off balance and confuse and disturb what you're doing. And this is clearly absolutely outrageous government intrusion. But you were concerned, I heard you say the other day you were concerned that CFIA might be poisoning the birds. Is that a potential threat?
It's a speculation at this point. How can you trust somebody who baits you into the back of a farm, then charges you, who lies to you, has been completely non-transparent? They operate with zero accountability. They operate with excessive freedom. Nobody oversees their work. And so we've been nothing but basically, they've used so much psychological warfare on our family for 10 months. They have terrorized our family for 10 months. So there is definitely speculation and concern that what are they hiding and what do they want? They want our science. They want our research gone. That's in our opinion, it's very clear that what we have here is it goes at odds with Big Pharma's plan for all of our multiple vaccinations for survival and more pills just to keep us alive. And that this is why, in God's name, would this big of a theatrical display of punishment be happening if there wasn't something that they wanted so badly that rather than just test the animals, prove their health, let the World Animal Health Organization know that we're deemed clear. We would have paid for all of those tests. The NIH and the FDA offered to pay for those tests as well. And the U.S. government, the Trump administration, has been met with nothing but silence and resistance. What are they hiding, right? They are hiding something, and they don't want us to prove that all of these animals are healthy, because then that would just blow the gates wide open. But again, they could have just solved this by collaborating with us and saying, hey, there's big potential here for humanity. We could put Canada on the map with innovative science that could help on a global scale. And they could have been heroes, and they still could be heroes. All they got to do is say, you know what? We're spending some time with these ostriches and visually being boots on the ground. We're really noticing that these animals are not symptomatic, that they look happy, they are healthy, they're laying eggs. And we would like to test them, not just for live virus and have independent testing for the family, but let's test them for antibodies. Because if we can just show that they have robust antibodies, then there's a real Canadian opportunity here.
Yes. Just wanted to clarify too, was there another fire on the farm last night? Some people on social media are saying that.
Yes, there was. So we don't
fire.
know. They tried to, the first fire on all those hay bales, they tried to pin on the base speculation that it must have been one of our supporters. And we're like, why would one of our supporters start all this hay on fire that could jeopardize the life of the animals that we're all sitting here sacrificing time, energy, and everything that we have to protect? So that fire got put out a couple nights ago. Last night, I guess it reignited. We had some high winds, so we don't know if that stirred up something in the hay, but another fire did break out. Yes. Yeah.
Wow. All you needed after all you've been through here. I guess my final question, and at the end, I want to share a video with you that we put together. It's a music video of the song that's been composed and a salute. And we put,
incredible. Sorry, you're the video. Oh my gosh, I was in tears.
Yeah, so I'm going to show that. I'm going to show that. I wanted to share it with you and our viewers again. It was a highlight of the show yesterday. Like attention spiked as soon as we showed the video. But I guess my final question, Katie, and we're so supportive of what you're doing. We love what you're doing, and we'll be there every day in whatever capacity is necessary. And like I say, I do want to get out. It's not always easy to get from Ontario to BC. But my final question,
that's the stuff that makes me emotional. It is people like you that continue to support us after this long, and you're dedicating airtime and space to bringing awareness to the situation and not letting it die. We have to keep all eyes on the situation, and the world has to continue to watch, because whatever happens here, it's going to set a precedent, but the precedents can be good. Yeah.
And I was so pleased to see not just mainstream media, but there were a lot of new media and independent media that have not been covering the story. Now virtually everybody is. And I just say the more the merrier. As many people who can get involved in this, I think it's fantastic. But you're encouraging people to not threatening or harass businesses that have been perhaps compliant. Do you know that this is actually happening, or is this just the media trying to make a tempest out of this?
No, I've got a call from a lady's family that her son was getting death threats. Their family was getting death threats. And this is just not what we stand for at all. Our voice has been very clear from day one. We are a loving family that cares about animals. We want our agricultural sector to be strong and resilient for generations to come. We are not operating out of violence, out of anger, hate. There's some frustration, and definitely, I guess, there's some feelings there for us personally, but we don't make change by threatening somebody's loving family, children who have nothing to do with this. That is a display of craziness. That does not reflect anything of anybody or who we are. We have asked. So one thing that has been powerful was inspirational phone calls and contact with companies like Sunbelt that had no idea what their equipment was going to be used for. So Sunbelt, once they found out what their equipment, where it was going to be and what it was going to be used for, they just made the right decision and became a hero that day. And they asked for their equipment back. It is simple like that. And there's no forcing these companies to do anything. If they want to act alongside of the CFIA doing such a heinous crime, that's their decision. But we are asking for is to lead with inspiration and be a leader in influencing these people to do the right thing, educating them in where their stuff is going, what it's being used for, and asking them kindly to please, make a second guess of what they're about to do and return their equipment or return their fence panels. I did ask, like Super Safe Gas, they've just allowed their fence panels to continue to go up. And it's not about going after Super Save. It's about reminding Super Save what's going to happen here, what these panels represent, and that they could stand on the right side of history with us and be another hero.
Well, you've been a recipient, not personally, but the farm has been a recipient of violence. And you have talked about a hate group that is shot 2 birds, and the RCMP have no answers for that, do they?
No, so we have had a couple birds shot. It's speculation to say it's the hate group. The hate group has a sniper club, and there's all these weird things. There was one gentleman, a young gentleman on that hate group that said, "I am the sniper. I shot the bird." I mean, I don't know how much more clear it has to be than that. And you're right. The RCMP that is here doing serve and protecting the Canadian Food Inspection Agency has not opened up. We have had no thorough investigation done. We actually have a rooster's part of his body, his neck and his head saved for evidence for them as per their request. Never examined, never looked for shell casings, never ever have they done an investigation to protect us on our farm. But they would come here and there'd be 6 police liaisons asking us how we're doing. And I said, instead of coming here and asking us how we're doing, can you please follow through with an investigation of why we've had animals shot? That hate group has threatened that they're going to burn cars down, that they're going to burn us out. And so I've gotten death threats. And it's just sad. Here we go with division and divide and conquer. It's the oldest tool in the toolbox. And it has the opportunity to do some real harm. Well, the real bad guys are getting away with everything because we're distracted. And
any idea why these yahoos are threatening you?
No, they just see they're upset. We took a stand. They think these animals are still a threat. And they've been upset. They claims that our supporters have been in town and that they harass and they want to get out of this turmoil. Every time, David, you get on your car and you drive down our valley 10 kilometers into Edgewood, it is quiet. Deer in the fields. The store has seen an influx of support from the people who are here supporting. We are actually economically helping the community. And there's been more protection than anything because we've had everybody just wanting to care for one another here. And that hate group it's very sad. You know what's sad too is that Facebook, what do you do when there's a hate group that could create such being worked up, people to be worked up and actually act in ways that they may never. And Facebook needs to take some accountability for that, because these hate groups, the minute they are reported, should be taken down. The minute that they are reported, those hate groups should not be allowed to exist.
I just want to close now with that video, because I think that's probably the best way to do that. And we'll say goodbye after, but believe me, we're going to stay in contact. And I hope this video demonstrates the support and love we have for you.
In the hills where the wild winds sing lived a flock of proud ostriches, hearts on the wing, feathers soft as the sunrise, as bright as the dawn. They danced in the meadows, free and strong. Karen and Katie, with love in their hands, built a home for these creatures on Edgewood's lands. 30 years of care, through sweat and through tears. Now a shadow looms large, born of cold-hearted fears. Call off the slaughter, let these birds live. Their hearts beat with freedom, they've so much to give. Healthy and happy, they run in the sun. Don't tear down this family, don't let tyranny run. Oh, government men, with your boots and your guns, back off from this farm, leave these ostriches alone. See the fields where they frolic, their long legs so grand, kicking up dust on this Canadian land. Each bird has a name, each soul has a spark. They're not just numbers, they're lights in the dark. Karen's gentle whispers, Katie's tender call. They've nursed every feather, they've loved through it all. But the feds storm the gates with their papers in mind, to kill what's alive in the broad daylight. Call off the slaughter, let these birds live. Their hearts beat with freedom, they've so much to give. Healthy and happy, they run in the sun. Don't tear down this family, don't let tyranny run. Oh, government men, with your boots and your guns, back off from this farm, leave these ostriches alone. They say it's for safety, but their words ring hollow. No tests for the living, just fear they follow. These birds fought the flu, their strength is a sign. Their blood holds a secret that could save humankind. Yet the trucks roll in with their cold, cruel plan. Yellow tape like a noose in a bureaucrat's hand. Katie weeps by the pens, her heart torn apart, while the law stomps the dreams of this family's heart. Call off the slaughter, let these birds live. Their hearts beat with freedom, there's so much to give. Healthy and happy, they run in the sun. Don't tear down this family, don't let tyranny run. Oh, government men, with your boots and your guns, back off from this farm, leave these ostriches alone. The people are rising, their voices unite. From the hills to the plains, they'll stand up and fight for the love of these creatures, for the farm's beating soul, for the right to say no when the state takes control. Oh, hear the wind cry through the Kootenay sky. See the ostriches run with the hope in their eyes. This isn't just land, it's a life they've defended. Don't let this cruel order be how their stories ended. Call off the slaughter, let these birds live. Their hearts beat with freedom, there's so much to give. Healthy and happy, they run in the sun. Don't tear down this family, don't let tyranny run. Oh, government men, with your boots and your guns, back off from this farm, leave these ostriches alone. So stand with the farmers, let your voices resound. For the ostriches dancing on this sacred ground. Call off the slaughter, let compassion prevail. Don't let tyranny shadow write this heartbroken tale. Leave them alone, leave them alone in the Kootenay hills. Let their spirits still roam.
No, that's a very emotional moment for you, Katie, and you've had enough of an emotional roller coaster, but I did want to share that with you. And,
It's beautiful.
with
I
the
think
audience again.
what's most emotional is that, we can't be out there in that pen right now to protect them.
And it is a beautiful song. And to watch the police officers lined up on the highway, it was a traumatic moment. And you're not a criminal, you're a farmer, and you're just trying to protect your animals and your family. And so I'm sorry, but
No, it's
the
okay.
truth. Every word of that song,
No,
word of that song is true.
I'm crying with you, and I feel the same. Believe me. But thank you for, I can't believe we've gone through 50 minutes here. Well, 40 actually. But thank you for your patience. Thanks for sharing so much time with me. I know you're beat. I know you're exhausted. I know you're so tired. You're working so hard. But you're working not just for you, your family, and these ostriches. You're working for Canada and for the freedom I think we all deserve and that we all used to expect automatically. But unfortunately, it's not anymore. And we have to keep fighting. And I don't know, I think you as well have become an icon of freedom in Canada. And you have become that because you're courageous, you're prepared to fight, and you're not giving up. And that's how I always think of you, Katie. So I'm sending you all of our love, all of our support, and we'll continue to stay in touch every day. And anything happens, please let me know, and I will do whatever I need to do to stop this. If we have to go there. But I think we're going to win this. I hope and pray we are.
Yeah, faith. God is good. And you know what? He comes through every time, right in time. So God is bigger than all of us. And I just ask everybody to continue to pray. Continue to pray for protection and strength.
Okay. So we'll talk again soon, Katie. God bless, Godspeed. And
lots of love.
You are in our hearts. Bye for now. That was, of course, Katie Passatnay, chief spokeswoman for the Universal Ostrich Farms. She's been doing a hell of a job defending not just these ostriches, but your rights as a landowner, as a farmer, as a Canadian, as somebody who wants a livelihood, as somebody who doesn't want your dog or cat taken away by the CFIA or your livestock. Katie said it all today, and we'll leave it at that. So thank you so much for watching today. I know we probably could have gone on for another 50 minutes, but appreciate your support, and we will be back tomorrow with more of the news you need to know. Bye for now.